Welcome to the first episode of the AntiAI podcast, your go-to source for in-depth discussion and debate on the AI movement we are witnessing all around us. My name is Clerk Kent, and this is a pseudonym. I am a fan of Superman and just how he is a average person during the day. And joining me today is my co-host, Iris. You'll notice that we have masks and filters on for anonymity. The reason is we don't feel right about revealing our identities at this moment, as we are talking about a very controversial topic and ultimately against the interests of some big players. Iris, why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi. So I'm a foxy lady over here in the beach, and I'm an American, but I've been living in Europe for the past 14 years. And in my experience, my work experience, which we might get into a little bit later, I am very skeptical of AI. While I hope for the best. I do think that we have to be really careful about the way that it's being used, regulated, and just in general perceived by the general public. So, yeah. But I'm from the DC area, but like I said, I've been in Europe for a long time.
So I'm on the other side of the US. I'm in the West Coast, and I'm the founder of AntiAI. The mission statement we have is since artificial intelligence is being so widely adopted as the norm across society, are we as a society ready for its impact and unforeseen consequences? Everyone knows that AI is already here. How do we stop it from potentially ruining us? And as it has already been adopted mainstream, how do we prevent further damage to our society?
Yeah, that's a great point. So as I mentioned, I'm in Europe. My experience, I'll give a little bit more background about myself briefly. I started in the AI industry with a company based in India in 2017. And we were building chatbots for financial institutions based in the US. So a lot of travel was involved, a lot of privacy. And I was a knowledge engineer. So that's just a fancy way of saying that I helped train the chatbots to learn how to speak basically to the customers that were engaging with them. And so I worked to test it for accuracy by asking real questions on a regular basis. And we would test, review, repeat, ongoing and ongoing and ongoing. And after I was in this company for about 2 years, the final product was still not, I would say it was not viable. Essentially, the company dissolved certain parts of its, they had a team in Spain, they had a team in the US, they had a team in India, and slowly but surely they got smaller and smaller because the accuracy of the technology just wasn't up to par for what the client needed. And I think a lot of that was based on first lack of human communication. So dealing with colleagues in India and colleagues in California, the ability to communicate even just like human to human was difficult, and then throw in AI in the middle, that made it even more complicated because we're dealing with different large language models, different algorithmic models, and not even being in the same room made it impossible to really truly communicate how everything was working. So that was when I first got my toes dipped into the pool of AI, really on the inside. And I saw that it was not working as it should be. Although I could tell that everyone that was working on the project was obviously invested in like doing the best that they could to make it work the best that they could. So that being said, the point of this podcast is to make everyone aware of the fact that even if the best intentions are there, it doesn't mean that it's always going to work. So, Clark, I will send it back to you. Tell us about the website and let us know what got you started.
Well, this website was started in 2023 at the beginning of when ChatGPT just hit everyone's radars, right? I quickly saw how disruptive this technology could become in the future. I decided that I did not want to leave it up to the policymakers and, the big tech companies who put on the guise of being anti-AI, but secretly supporting them and their development. I'm sure everyone at that point felt the same reaction as me in that they all knew this was going to be the thing that could potentially change the whole world someday. We just didn't know the scope of it. I I decided to be proactive rather than be on the sidelines and see what happens. I decided that voicing my opinion is the best route. I took a look at the news headlines. Everyone seemed to be excited rather than worried about AI. And ultimately, I felt pretty alone in my cause when I started. I tried reaching out to different prominent people, stonewalled. I tried, um, you know, tagging people on Twitter back when it was called Twitter and now is X. I tried to get my opinions across in different manners on social media. Just tried to give early warning signs, but didn't really get too far. And I actually kind of lost steam as the whole AI movement kind of brushed me aside and chugged along, irrespective of my thoughts on it. And it was only until this year that I met Iris and we started talking and really thought about what we could do together. Iris is a very well-written author and she, as she introduced, has some real life AI experience. My background is more in business, and I saw how AI kind of just ate the whole business world up, right? Nowadays you don't see a company that doesn't talk about AI in their earnings call or tout how AI is completely changing their business models. Whether it's a buzzword or not, that is up for viewers to interpret. But Iris and I both decided that we should work together to help people in general be more informed of AI consequences. And that's how we started on this path of starting a podcast. Iris can highlight maybe the deeper level reasons on why a podcast would be better on communicating our mission statement.
Sure. So, I mean, Clark has a great website that I found, and actually, I think the story of how we met is pretty cool. Like, I made a comment on his site a few months ago that I was just like, I really am aligned with what you're writing and what you're sharing, and a few months later, he got back to me, and then it was like an immediate partnership because it is something that was I was working for a marketing firm. But I was always being pushed to use AI tools. And again, like I'm not trashing them, but I'm a writer, so I was also kind of a little bit afraid of, okay, are these tools going to take my job, or like things like that were always in the back of my mind. So I started like doing a little research, and I found his site, and I was really impressed with the person actually responding to a comment that I made on their website. So that was the first thing that made me want to get involved in this project specifically. And then I thought, okay, we're talking about technology, we're talking about AI. Let's be realistic. Nobody reads anymore. I mean, I do. I just finished Anna Karenina like 2 days ago. So I'm a total nerd. But in general, like people prefer to listen to audio or look at videos. So I thought it might be more effective to get the message across through a podcast, which are, there's a billion today, but ours is going to be the best. And that was kind of like where this brainchild started. So our goal, I think, will be to keep you informed of updates on what's going on in the AI sphere in terms of legislation, in terms of breaches, news stories. Like we want to hear your thoughts about what you think about AI. Like, do you like it? Do you not like it? Are you using it? Are you not using it? Is it affecting your work? Is it affecting your day-to-day life? Like, these are all things that are really interesting to both of us. And it was just through probably a Google algorithm, honestly, that put us together. But at the end of the day, that's where we have to decide, like, where do you draw the line? Like, where is it effective and where is it not? So yeah, so that's kind of why we're doing this podcast route. The website is a great resource. There's going to be plenty of articles continuously coming out that you can refer to, but this will also be a way to just like easily put your headphones in and listen to like what's going on in the AI world.
People watching on video, I will just bring your attention quickly to the website that we are talking about, which is just www.antiai.com. Once you're on the homepage, you'll be able to take a look on why this website is running. Have interesting media on general AI developments. If you're more into memes, for example, you can click a look at AI related memes. But the most important parts I want to highlight are the top bar right here, in where recently, with the addition of Iris, we began AI case studies. The first one would be on Apple Intelligence, and consequently, that will also be our first podcast episode. Basically, we compiled why you should care about what is happening, how we can move on as a society, how we can stand together against AI rollout. You can read all about it right here. The next page is the news wall of shame. For example, the most recent article on Perplexity on their AI website bot scraping the news websites, for example, Forbes, and completely just stealing their content and how they write articles. And it's the first sign of some major issues that are poking through with AI being so recklessly thrown into just the internet and our society. This is one of my favorite pages, which is on the different risks that AI poses. I tried to take a very unique approach in these. So you will not see, the fear mongering that is pretty typical of when people talk about AI risks. I tried to be realistic and incorporate uh, pretty up-to-date stories, and you'll see this change as the AI story unfolds because as we all know, AI just it grows exponentially, right? So there will be a lot of changes that happen throughout the time, I am sure. Finally, if you feel that our cause is something that is worth standing behind, we encourage you to look at the supporters and donations page, as well as potentially being featured on the supporters blog. Basically, if you have a personal story you would like to share and you don't want to necessarily come on to the podcast, you're welcome to send me an email. That's on the homepage or under supporters. You just type your name, the message, and the email where I can reach you at, and we'll try to feature you. You can remain anonymous, of course, but if you like to go public, I am sure there's a lot of other people in your same shoes who like to share their stories. Yeah, that's the general website. If you have any suggestions, I would definitely welcome it. Um, Iris, you did you want to share about what a general podcast episode would look like?
Sure. So the idea that we had to moving forward will to be much more concise, and we will like to start each episode with a thought or question from one of our followers or viewers. So we really want to hear from you because that's what's going to inform our content. We want to answer your questions. We want to make sure that we're addressing your concerns, and then we will try to highlight a major news story that is, you know, going on at the moment. So we'll try to be as timely as possible. And then, we can discuss and obviously like welcome comments during the discussion of whatever news story is going on. But the point is that we really want to know what the general public, so not politicians, not major corporations, but just like YouTube watchers or podcast listeners, we want to know what you think about what's going on with AI. That's what's important to us. And we want to try and clarify things for you and give you answers.
Yeah, this podcast has a lot of potential. Right now, it is being done on a grassroots shoestring budget. We want to increase the quality of the website and the podcast, but our resources are constrained. We are funded personally. It's just the two of us currently. We want viewers, if they have suggestions or ways to support us, we would love that. Ultimately, we want people to be able to voice their opinions and, make an impact on the world, right? And we want to give um, anyone who cares about AI a platform to speak and hope that we garner some more support along the way. We will definitely try to have interesting and prominent figures of AI on our podcast and just have them share their thoughts and us challenging their beliefs and just hosting active discussion, you know. You can donate on our website is under supporters and donors, and we will give you a shout out and why you stand behind us if you want to share.
Yeah. And maybe I'll take my filter off one day if we get enough support.
Yeah, so leave who you want next on our podcast. We already have a series of speakers who want to share their opinions, and they definitely haven't been on your traditional podcast before. So look out for that. And Iris, do you want to take us out?
Yeah. See. I just want to say, like, we will we're going to put together a series of about 5 episodes coming up in the next few months. So stay tuned and, kick back, relax, let us know what you think about AI. Obviously, we're following politics in the world, which is going to be influential in this sphere. So we want to know your thoughts about all of that. So please leave a comment, click like, subscribe to us, and follow us, and we will get back to you if you're interested in being a part of this movement. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for everyone for tuning in. So we are really new to this game. Please
Yeah.
understand. Help us make suggestions. Keep a active mind and stay curious.
Yeah.